Happy Easter! Welcome to Fire Mountain, the Easter holiday edition. So pleased you could join us. That's right, we made it back into the studio for 1 week. One entire week we were in the studio and then holiday came. And so we're doing a special edition of Fire Mountain from our homes. So we hope that you really enjoyed this edition this Easter. So before we get into everything we have for today, I am going to be bringing in a special guest. Let us hear it for the one, the only, Dominic Bird. Woo, woo, woo.
Hey up, Richard.
Hello, Dominic.
I'm just in the attic, mate.
Do you know what? I don't miss COVID. I don't miss these. But out of everything I don't miss, dude, it's these entrances.
Right. Just come down. Say that.
Dom, just come down from the attic.
Okay, I'm going to try and do this without falling down. Oh, fuck.
Mate, that's a nice shot right there. That was really gracious. You're like a ballerina.
I made it. You know, Louise is out this morning, so I'm doing Fire Mountain, and I thought Richard will really enjoy my grand entrances.
I just can't get enough of it. I can't get enough of it. Happy Easter. Easter Sunday. It's so good.
Can I just ask a quick question? And this would be an interesting poll for people out there watching on YouTube and Facebook. Who would like it if before I preached or the preacher preached on a Sunday, we did some sort of entrance behind the lectern?
When you say behind the lectern, firstly, it's perspex, so I'm interested to know in your mind.
I don't know.
But
like a black cloth and then just drop it. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. Mate, this is a big Sunday, eh?
It's a big Sunday. And it's a big Sunday because Easter eggs. Woo-hoo-hoo!
Easter eggs. All right, tell me this then. As a family, do you go all into that pagan festival?
What, like the Easter eggs, all of that kind of stuff?
The Easter eggs, the eggs, and all this kind of stuff. Do you go all in on that with your kids?
Nah, not at all. I think it is absolutely inappropriate to do that.
You know what? We like Easter eggs too, but it's an interesting thing, isn't it? Like, people have some proper firm views about it, because obviously Easter, the season, the actual holiday, was a pagan festival that Christians kind of reclaimed, which I kind of think is a good thing, but still we kind of carry over some of the pagan practices, right? Do you have any kind of conscience about that, Richard?
No, I don't.
No. So, I don't either, but I wonder if we should.
Well, here's my thinking about it. I think is there's nothing wrong with those things, but as a parent, I have to work hard to make sure the main thing stays the main thing for my kids.
Okay.
Which is Easter time, resurrection. This is what this is all about. It's not about the eggs. It's not about the bunny. But we can have those things and we can enjoy them. And, depending when it's age appropriate, break some hearts as we pull back the curtain and reveal what's really behind it.
Yeah.
Part of that is I look and I go, as long as my kids are going, I know what these things are really about. I'm pretty comfortable with it. So that Easter, Christmas, man, we're all into it.
All in. Well, you know what? When I don't know where you were. I don't know why. Me and Louise did Fire Mountain that Sunday, and you were preaching at church that Sunday. That's what happened.
Right.
Well, we did it live, and I spoke about how, as Christians, we have to look at culture and think of 3 R words to think, how do we respond to that cultural kind of practice? So, do we reject it completely? Yeah. Do we receive it completely, or do we redeem it completely? Okay. I think those 3 things are quite good. So, I think with the Easter thing, we can actually redeem it, can't we? Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, eggs can also symbolize new life and stuff like that. So there's some teaching points in that.
And I'll be brutally honest with my kids and go, it's brown things left by a bunny. Easter poo.
You know what? I always thought about, Nesquik cereal.
Yeah.
I always wondered, why do they make the rabbit the mascot? Because it looked like rabbit poo, didn't it? Every time. And even as a kid, I would eat it thinking, this is wrong, man. This is wrong. It's bizarre. It's like making cereal, like big cow pats, and then making a cow the main poster boy for the whole thing. But hey, is what it is.
You guys COVID free in the Bird household at last?
Woo!
Dude, that went gangster. Like, honestly, not too gangster, straight up. And you popped that hood on. I mean, the decor around you said, I'm still actually just in middle class suburbia, but the hood said,
Slim Shady. Slim Shady. There we go. Boom. Yeah, I mean, it's that's what I'm talking about. No, we're all COVID-free now. We're all back to health, which is good. And yeah, pumped to be at church today, but also pumped to be on Fire Mountain. Cool that we can be in two places at once on Easter Sunday.
Well, can we say magic after the conversation we had?
No.
How do we redeem it?
Definitely not Harry Potter. Right, can I show you what I think is the best toy that my kids own?
Go, do it.
Are you ready for this, mate? You're going to love this. Hey, Jude, just come in the room. Come and say hello, Jude. Come and say hello and say Happy Easter to people.
Happy Easter.
Hello, Judah. Happy Easter.
Look at that head of hair, man. That is so much hair. Yeah. Richard, what do you reckon? Get it cut? Oh. There we go. All right, here's what I think. Is that not the coolest toy? Right, watch this. Two cool additional features. Look at that. Flux capacitor style. And if that's not enough, check this, Richard. You're going to love this. How amazing is that?
Dad, look.
That is so cool.
It's so cool. And I did some research on this toy because it wasn't cheap. And the kids just play with it as a toy car, right? But it's actually made with the same metal that a DeLorean is made with.
You're joking.
Which is a brush stained steel.
From them and put it up on a shelf. Yeah?
There
we go.
It's so cool, isn't it?
There we go. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figurine.
Oh yeah. Check that. What is it? What color is it? Blue.
Hold on.
Oh, that's Leonardo, isn't it?
It's the cool one.
Leonardo. Do you know that one, Judah?
No.
That's Teenage Mutant Hero Turtle.
This is what my boys also play with this, but now I put on a shelf. And then
you put on the shelf. You get to an age where you stop playing with toys and you just start marveling them and appreciating them for their kind of.
And you go, this is the beauty of it all.
That's so. You know what? I don't know whether like people who watch this actually are like into toys or whatever. But if you think there's a better toy than either of the toys that we have shown you today, see, for those who are uncultured, by the way, this is the DeLorean out of the Back to the Future franchise. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So cool. Right, are you having a good Easter, anyways, Richard?
Very good Easter, thank you. Good Easter break. What's happened this week? My daughter's been away the whole week, so she's been on a camp with the cadets, which has been crazy.
Wow. Okay.
So she's only got back this week, so that's been cool. And it's basically been me with the boys. Shemaine's been at work, so that's been amazing.
Nice. A bit of a boys' week for you. That's cool.
Always good. We went to Tank Museum. If you haven't been to Tank Museum, we watched the show. Oh, it was good. Really good.
Hey, have you heard about the two fish? Have you heard about the two fishes in the aquarium?
Go.
Okay, two fishes in a tank, right?
Yeah.
One turns to the other and says, right, how do you drive this thing?
How do I remove you?
You love it.
So, Fire Mountain, we're going to jump into something because I watched this clip and it's been annoying me so much. We're going to jump right into this clip and we're going to talk about it. And then we're going to try to do a thing, which is like, see if anybody actually cares about us and will they come on Fire Mountain if we just get them to try and come on straight away.
Yeah, okay.
So let's just talk about this clip because it proper is annoying me.
Okay, that's it.
And the anger that many will feel that I myself fell short when it came to observing the very rules which the government I lead had introduced to protect the public. And I accept in all sincerity that people had the right to expect better. And now I feel an even greater sense of obligation to deliver on the priorities.
I mean, I don't, honestly.
Right, okay, tell me, what annoys you about it? Come on, help me understand.
When you go, I understand that you're angry. I understand I broke the rules. I understood that what I did wasn't right. I understood it went against the law I made. I understand all of these things. And what this drives me to is to just deliver on the priorities I said I'm going to deliver on. Honestly, I'm like, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard.
You need to give a bit of context to people who may be out of touch with the news this week.
So, Boris Johnson, Rishi Sunak, Carrie Johnson, some other members of the Tory party have all now been fined by police because of breaking COVID rules. And so even though it's not a seriously big illegal thing, they've broken the COVID rules that they've set in place. Every opposition leader you can imagine is calling on them to resign. They've come out saying, no need to resign. This just makes us more resolved to deliver on the promises we said we were going to deliver on.
Yeah.
And kind of like, this is crazy, especially when you juxtapose it. I was showing it to Charmaine, and she was all like, didn't he say he didn't break any rules? And was adamant he didn't? And I'm like, well, welcome to whatever's happening right now. And then I saw that clip of his little talk, firstly reading it off a piece of paper on the side.
Heartfelt.
Can Downing Street not afford a teleprompter? Let's just get that out the way. And I'm like, dude, this can't be for real. Like, your response can't be for real.
It is for real. It is for real. I mean, okay, so let me put my cards on the table, right?
No, yeah, we go.
Inevitable.
Yeah, we go.
It was always inevitable that they were going to be fined, right? Inevitable. Because almost like popular opinion demanded it. Like, because of those pictures, right? Now, I think probably every single person in the UK potentially broke those rules in some way or other, either intentionally or unintentionally, right? Just by being in a space with more than 6 people, or a work gathering or something, I don't know, having a Pepsi Max or something on a break, I don't know. But it just feels like it's like a mad witch hunt to try to just, I don't understand it, destabilize our government. Just let it go, man. Let it go. So me and you think differently on this, clearly, right? Because you think, no, hold them to account. Do you think he should resign as a result?
Yeah, definitely.
No, you're wrong.
You can't. How can you have a prime minister that's broken the law? This is historic. Like, this is historic.
Do you not think every prime minister has broken the law?
Yeah, but none of them are dumb enough to get caught. And none of us went on national television and lied about it. Let's be honest. Like,
so okay. If you think about the greater good of society, then do you think the greater good is to get rid of Boris Johnson and cause like instability, or keep Boris Johnson, who maybe has a mar on his integrity, in order to preserve some stability during these crazy Russian-Ukraine things that's going on, all the flux in the world right now?
Let's just say it, and I can't believe I'm going to say it. Let's bring back Theresa. Let's do it.
Nothing wrong with Theresa May. She's a lovely woman.
Yeah, let's bring her back. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Where's David right now? Let's pull David back in.
David Cameron, to be fair, I was a fan of him. I mean, it's really hard for me because all along I've said Boris Johnson shouldn't resign. But the problem that we do have, and it's a matter of consistency and also integrity, I guess, is that the press secretary was fired for joking about it.
Yeah.
But these senior MPs don't get fired for actually being at the party she was joking about.
Yeah.
So I can see the inconsistency there, but I don't think she should have resigned or been fired anyways. I think she should have kept her job. So I can still hold to my conviction regardless of that stuff. But I do think it creates a bit of a problem, because when you start getting rid of people down the chain for doing something lesser, when you get caught for doing something greater, then obviously there is, some consequences that should be played out. But I don't know, man.
I think I think it's ridiculous. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, I think, and I'll be honest, if he came out at the beginning when all of this Partygate stuff kicked off and said, yep, I was at parties, I'm prepared to take the fines, people shouldn't be getting fired over this, but it's just, this is what it is. Hey, at least he owned it, and we would have moved on. It's just that there's been such a ramp up to, and now it's like, oh, we can't get rid of him because we're in the middle of like this like Ukrainian war thing. Yeah, and I'm like, well, you're not going to get rid of him after the Ukrainian war. There's going to be something else. Like, when are you planning on doing this? Like,
I mean, if Boris Johnson survives this, he's a street fighter, isn't he? He is a street. Like,
you can't think it's one person who's controlling the Ukrainian war response of the government, because if it is, we are in bigger problems.
Yeah. Well, I just think, I mean, I don't want him to lose his job. That's my personal view. I know loads of people will disagree on that. But, like, I just wonder, what does he have to do? What must he do? Because he just seems to hold on, doesn't he? He clings on. Exactly. Like, David Cameron walked because he basically did the referendum for Brexit, lost it, and thought, "Oh, pants! I don't want to deal with this mess or whatever." Theresa May walked because really she was kind of unpopular, and there was growing calls for it within the party.
Yeah.
Boris Johnson, he ain't going nowhere, man. He's like craziness. But
I had this thought this week, which was so Will Smith's been kicked out of the academies. Literally, it's all crazy. But the same people that have been they voted in Donald Trump.
Yeah. Like,
that's craziness to me.
No, but Donald Trump. No, it's only crazy when you consider. It's less crazy when you consider Donald Trump's opposite.
No,
1,000%.
Hillary all the way. Hillary.
There's no good conscience you can vote for Hillary.
Yeah, you can. You just walk in, you put a little cross by her name and walk out.
Yeah, crosses in, definitely not her. Our survey says, not vouching for Donald Trump's character or anything like that. I think obviously he's a bit tricky, he's a bit slippery. But I just think that's politics, man. And I think that at least Donald Trump would tweet all of his worst thoughts. So I knew exactly what he thought about any given situation. I feel like Hillary Clinton, a bit more kind of witchy.
Witchy?
A bit more witchy. Off-grid.
That's a sign for witchy.
It's like abracadabra. But yeah, okay, so here's the question then. Yeah. If we as Christians are called to kind of live a lifestyle of forgiving, and surely our response to Boris Johnson is we forgive him, let's move on. Surely we shouldn't be going sack him, get him out, he can't continue in his role, because as Christians we're against cancel culture, aren't we?
I mean, are we? Yeah, we are. But I think this is forgiveness and consequences. Like, forgiveness doesn't remove consequence.
Okay.
So I think that consequence is a natural part of when you do if you do something wrong, there are consequences that happen. Yeah. And as Christians, what we should do is we should be forgiving. So we should go, we're not holding you slave or putting your worth or value anymore into these things you've done. But it doesn't remove the consequence that's come as a result of it.
Okay.
Well, I could look at Boris Johnson and go, while I forgive you, you should be fired as a consequence of what's happened. But no longer can I hold, I think when you don't forgive somebody, what you do is you hold them to a past issue or a past mistake or a past sin, and that's what defines them in your mind, where forgiveness has to be, I no longer hold you in that light. I actually hold you now in the light of Jesus, and go, that thing has been removed. But the reality is all of the consequences still outplaying and outworking, and just because there's forgiveness, it doesn't remove the consequence.
So when you pray for Boris and the government, do you pray for Boris and the government?
Yeah, I pray for Boris and the government. I pray that the police would find him and that he would be fired. Yeah, I do pray for the government. I do pray for Boris Johnson, and you should. If you're a Christian out there, you should be praying for your government and your leaders, even if you disagree with them. You have to be praying for them. That's right.
So what does your prayer look like then? When you're praying for him, in this instance, are you praying for justice? Are you praying for that? What are you? I don't know. How do you pray in this situation?
So it's really funny, because when I watched that clip, I was super annoyed, and I thought, okay, I'm super annoyed, and then obviously I'm like, okay, what do I do with my annoyance rather than just fester in it? Which, to be honest, festered a little bit. Let's just be honest about that. Sat on it a bit, going, this is ridiculous. But my prayer looks like that he would have integrity. So I think I would be more comfortable if he stood up and said, I've done wrong and I'm going to step down. Even then, I may have looked and gone, no, don't step down. Come on, what are you doing? Which may be hypocritical on my side. I don't really know. But what I feel like he's done is he's given what is the non-apology apology. I'm not sorry, but I'm sorry that you think I'm not sorry. Yeah. Don't worry, because I'm still going to carry on. And it's like, no, how? Like, how?
Just imagine if our kids tried that. Like, I know I shouldn't steal that chocolate bar from the shop, but having done that, I feel like I really want to be the person you want me to be now.
Yeah. This is like them coming home and going, I know when I hit the kid in the face was wrong, and it really inspires me now to work harder at school. You'll be like, sorry, what?
Yeah. Hey, talking of justice, forgiveness, these things, and sorry, have you finished talking about your praying for the
I'm
leaders?
finished talking about my praying. I pray for integrity, and then I pray that he would have wisdom and everything else that I'd be praying for, because ultimately, even despite of all of my reservations and feelings, he is still the leader of the United Kingdom, and he's representing us on a national platform. And so when he's in the Ukraine, which controversial, I don't know. So I've been watching a whole lot of World War II documentaries. I was into them for a while.
What up?
You're back.
Mate, I don't know what's going on with my internet. Whenever I try to do any kind of broadcasting situation from home, it goes bad.
So, for those of you who just would have experienced a little glitch, when we spliced these two things together, Dom completely froze, had to drop out, and is now back in. So, we're going to carry on. So, I've been watching all these World War II documentaries, just because I've gotten sucked back into watching them. And it was crazy, because while I was watching these World War II documentaries, they're showing you all of this footage of Winston Churchill walking around with all of the soldiers and being really defiant in the face of Hitler and all of this kind of stuff. And while I was watching this, I also got on my newsfeed photos of Boris Johnson walking around in the Ukraine. And when you're looking at something and thinking, it's not quite the same, is it? It's not the same.
No, not really the same. Winston Churchill, though, is a legend, isn't he?
I mean, he is, but not a legend before, and definitely not a great prime minister after.
No, he was definitely a prime minister for wartime. Do you know one of my most favourite quotes and stories I've heard of Winston Churchill was when he was in the press room. There was this press lady who absolutely couldn't stand Winston Churchill, so the story goes. And she says, Prime Minister, if you were my husband, I'd put poison in your tea. And he said, lady, if I was your husband, I'd drink it. Boom! Oh, yeah! Go Winston. All right. So what I was going to say about justice and forgiveness, right? This week, I've been thinking about this character, and I spoke about him briefly on Good Friday. This character in the Gospels, in the Passion Week, the last 7 days of Jesus' life, and really, this is building to the cross moment where Jesus stands before Pilate, the governor of the governor of the area of Rome where Jesus was going to be crucified, Jerusalem, and what's really interesting is there's this character in it, Barabbas, who is really just seems like a segue almost in the story, like a red herring character. But for me, just this mind-blowing thing where Pilate brings out Barabbas, who was guilty of insurrection. In other words, he was a terrorist of the Roman Empire. He'd murdered, right? Most likely a gangster, a gang leader or whatever. Pilate kind of, as was tradition on those holy days, sets out Barabbas and Jesus and says, listen, I'll free one of these to you. And the crowd back Barabbas, right? Absolutely unbelievably, the crowd, the same crowd that was saying Hosanna to Jesus when he was doing the triumphal entry on Palm Sunday, within a week, he's now saying, crucify Jesus, give us Barabbas, which for me is an absolutely mind-boggling moment in the scriptures. One that speaks of total injustice, one that speaks of total scandalous grace, total reckless love, all these things. Yet, I think the reason that Barabbas is in the story, not only because it happens, but it speaks to a greater gospel truth that actually we're Barabbas, that actually I'm Barabbas. So you were talking, for example, about there's forgiveness and consequence, and actually still you need consequence as well as forgiveness, because consequence brings correction, consequence brings teaching or whatever. Consequence is necessarily a bad thing. But in the example of Barabbas and in the example of the gospel, which I think Barabbas is the bigger gospel picture, that redemptive narrative that we see playing out, is that God's version of forgiveness is a forgiveness without consequence. a forgiveness without merit, a forgiveness without earning it. So, like, surely that's the forgiveness we should be going after. We should be going after we will let the most guilty person in the room go on the basis that, like, that's the model that God set down. Or is that too, I don't know, too basic, too simple?
No, I think that it's when I look at the story of Barabbas, I feel like the problem with Barabbas is the crowd chose the option that they thought was I don't want to say more palatable, because obviously there's so much in the story being rabble roused. There's lots kind of happening and underpinning the story. But I do feel like there is something innately inbuilt in us where we want to play with fire. Like we want the dangerous. We want the, like, I don't know what it is about it. Like you're holding up two different things. Like you got Jesus. This is, for anyone to be released, is this the safest option is Jesus.
Yeah.
And then you got Barabbas, the like murderer, like all around bad guy, and with lots of rabble rousing underneath, but still coming from the people. And I don't really know, maybe playing a little bit into the weakness of Pilate. Who knows what was happening inside of that? They then look and they go, we want this guy. But I think that is really how we are, and I'd agree with you, is I think we would choose the bad, not because of its redemptive qualities, but because it's bad.
Yeah, okay.
Over the good.
Interesting.
Good. And while I think the story is way more complex, and I do think that in the story, I definitely do think there is a sense that we are Barabbas, but we'll both know this. When you come to Jesus and you have that experience of grace in your life, it hasn't removed any of the consequence that came from it. It's not like, even though your past is gone, all of the consequence of your past is still present. So it's not like it's removed all of that away. And even in that story, the reality is now you got a murderer that's been released back into the population of normal society. We don't know what happens to Barabbas from that, you know? Like, who knows? He could have become fully gone, wow, second chance, my life's turned around, it's going to be amazing, become a great, or he could have become like the times Ted Bundy. Who knows where he would have gone to inside of that kind of run.
I've heard of a double character compared to Ted Bundy before, so that's a new one for me.
I mean, here we go. This is Fire Mountain. So I don't know. That's kind of where in my head, it's kind of where I sit, because I feel like when we push grace to an extreme, and maybe we should, and I'm wrong, but when you take it all the way to this nth extreme, no matter what you've done, anybody, anything, no consequences, it's all just fixed, and we need to just forget it all. But then on the other side, as I look and I go, you know, there are consequences, there are victims, there are all of these things that are really important, and I do think sit right into the heart of God.
Yeah.
Where he's going, yeah, absolutely. For me, the scandalous aspect of grace is, why would God forgive Barabbas? We wouldn't. But he would. Yeah. Why would God forgive Hitler? We wouldn't. He would.
Yeah.
Like, that is scandalous to me, because I go, that's crazy.
I think the scandal, like you say, you touched on it, is like we don't read anything of Barabbas post that event. So it's like Barabbas lives his whole life potentially not knowing what happened. And it's obviously that bigger gospel picture of like, this isn't just an exchange, this is like a substitution, which we know Jesus is our substitute in all things. But I guess, like, I am down with you on the consequence thing. I'm not actually against consequence, especially when it comes to moral law. So stuff where, in that instance, the reason I find it so scandalous is because Barabbas would have been a danger to a certain sect of society, to the Roman Empire. He would have been a physical threat, violence and murder and all this kind of stuff. The Boris Johnson thing, however, I don't feel like anyone's, well, you know, you could say by having a party at your house during lockdown, you might threaten them with COVID. But ultimately, it's not like he's murdering people. It's like, surely we can get past this. Surely the consequences, he looks a bit like a Muppet, but we move on and carry on. We don't need...
Where as a Christian, though, would you draw the line? So if Boris Johnson had killed someone, would that be... That's too bad.
Yeah.
But if Boris Johnson had been drunk driving, so if he was drunk driving around London, is that
Depends who he killed. Depends who he killed. If it was Hillary...
Yeah, farmer just on his windscreen.
Yeah, it's a good question, but I think that's part of the thing. Is that's why, because I think we're inept at drawing the line. I mean, I don't know. I understand this whole thing, what I'm saying, because I do believe actually in consequence. I just believe in this instance, we just need to get over it and just go, it is what it is. And I agree, if Boris Johnson owned it and just said, I really cocked up, I'm sorry. My intention wasn't to break the thing, and we weren't really wholly aware that we were, but we're just humans. We're civilians as much as we are political leaders as well. I don't know. Maybe that wouldn't wash, but I just feel like there's this race in modern culture, isn't there, to make a villain. We like making villains, so we like a bit of scandal because it gives us something to talk about and it gives us something to read about in the news, and we put it up here, and then it's like a witch hunt. And I just feel like surely that is like so ungospelly. Surely that is so the antithesis of what God is about, that as Christians we go, yeah, he made a mistake, but let's get over it. Like, yes, he lied potentially, but like, let's get on with life. But I don't know.
Yeah, I'd probably be pushing the other way and go, the law and consequence that he's brought in around these things has affected multiple people's lives. So, in theory, I think I was reading, because there's 6 different fines he has to pay, 6 different instances he's broken this thing. It's not just a one-off hit. It could run him up to £10,000.
Yeah.
Now, I also feel like he could just draw on the same people who helped pay to paint his flat, maybe for his £10,000. But for a lot of us, we don't have that kind of access to tap into, which may have had dramatic impact on those. It's so weird, like a dramatic impact on regular people's lives who may have also gone, well, I don't know, I was breaking the law. Now I've got to pay this fine. Yeah. And the severity of the fine is no more severe. I mean, the severity of the law that was broken is like breaking the speed limit. We're not talking, but it feels to me like it's like I do think if a police officer gets arrested for breaking the speed limit, it feels more severe than if I do.
So would you think that a policeman should lose his job then if he gets caught speeding?
I think if the police officer was the one who made the speed limit law, 100%.
That's madness.
Because I'd be like, you're the one who instituted this law, like this rule.
But this creating the law doesn't make you less human.
Don't you think this is a lot like when you speak to parents who go, oh, my kid must have picked up this bad language at school, and then you listen to them talk and you go, yeah, no, they didn't at all. Like, if you don't want your kid to swear, don't swear, or else just let them swear. I feel like that's how I think about it in my head. I go, you made the law, you made the rules that were going to come to be broken.
Have this fight all the time.
And then you were like, cheers.
Caleb was in the hall the other day and something happened. He went, crap it. And I said, don't say that. And he says, but you say it all the time. And I was like, and I had no defense other than it's different for adults. I was like, it's different for adults. Adults, we're not the same. You're a child. You can't say it. Some things adults can say, but you can't say it. And he just like, that's not right. And in my gut, I'm like, yeah, I know it's so hypocritical and wrong. But still, that's what we're going with. Don't say it.
That's why I carry these little leaflets that say PG-12 on it. I go, well, when you're 12.
When you're 12. Hey, you know what? We should try and get someone into this room and see what they think should happen with old Boris, right? So we're going to try a bit of roulette here, right? You're going to try a person. Okay. Then I'm going to try a person. So who are you going to try first?
Okay, I'm going to see if I can get Adam Clark to jump into this room.
All right, go on then.
Okay.
All right.
So let's see what happens. Now, for context here, we have not primed these people at all. No. So we're going to see who's well liked. Okay, here we go. So I'm blasting this off right now.
Are you ringing him?
No, I'm dropping him a WhatsApp text. This is how confident I am. WhatsApp text.
Right.
I can see that it's been delivered. I can
Nice.
see it has not been read. Nothing. Waiting for those to go blue. Waiting for those to go blue.
I can't even get. Do I just forward that link on to somebody?
Yeah, you just forward the link on. I've copied that link so I can stick it into a WhatsApp text because I thought, who really checks emails anymore?
That is
if
true.
I send you an email and it don't text you, there's a good chance it's going into an ether, a vat of emails.
This is great fun for people at home to watch, I'm sure.
Watch us just like looking and going, what is happening right here, right now?
All right. So
Let me ask you a question. In your mind, is there anything that somebody could do which you would look at and go, even if they became a Christian, you would go, actually, I still have to hold you, responsible isn't the word, but you would have a massive measure of reservation about that person. Does that make sense? What I'm asking?
Is there any trespass, did you say?
Yeah. Like, is there, like, I suppose to me, I'm really trying to, I still have no blue lines. I'm really trying to find what the line is in your head. Like, where in your head you're going, that's the line, man. And if you're over this line, it's too much.
It's a great question. I guess for me, I'm just so anti-cancel culture that I think if we can forgive them and let it go, we should forgive them and let it go rather than try to take someone out. So for me, I guess, was it a direct threat to somebody? It's like almost like we were talking about disciplining our children the other day and raising them. We don't dish out smacks for the fun of it every time. Like when Caleb said crap it, all right, but when they were younger, it was when they caused when they endangered another child or themselves. Like there was a consequence then, a greater consequence, because we recognized we put added weight on that behavior than if it was just a case of they pushed a cup of water on the floor or something like that. So I think, I guess for me, if Boris Johnson, like you say, drink driving, that is potentially putting people at risk. So I think in that instance, that's a much more gravitas thing that we need to deal with. But I think just because that they had some work parties or not work parties, to be honest, I just don't think it was that bad. If I'm honest, I just like, come on, seriously. Yeah. There was a few of them gathering on lunch or whatever. Oh, wait there, someone's texted me back. Oh, no, it's me. I text myself.
I also dropped a message out now to Simon Lincoln. Both of these boys haven't read my message. Nothing, no blue arrows at all.
Nice.
And now I've got a Sky notice saying Boris Johnson is revealing his plan to send migrants to Rwanda.
Mate, we need new friends. We need new friends.
Yeah, honestly, no one gives one at all here. Nothing.
Shall I try Jay?
Yeah, try Jake. See if you get anywhere with that.
All right.
I mean, it's sad. It's really, really sad. It's heartbreaking, really. It's really
what else
bad.
is the news this week, Richard?
Well, what I was interested in as well is when you wrap your head around Easter, obviously the central focus of Easter is the Friday build up to Sunday, resurrection.
Yeah.
2 quick, pithy statements. What do you think the underground, tangible impact of resurrection means for the Christian? Like in my life tomorrow, what would this mean for me?
Yeah, so I think obviously being a people of the resurrection obviously is a game changer in multiple ways, but I think the thing that I like most about it is that it proves the cross worked.
Okay.
So I think that it means that Jesus was divine, Jesus was God. It moves us away from Jesus just being a teacher or just a prophet, because without Easter Sunday, all we have is a really good man who died a nasty death.
That's cool.
That's not unique, really. That's common, but the fact that he rose again means that the cross actually worked. It achieved its end goal. But I think that's where some people slip up, because many people can concede that Jesus existed, and many people can concede that this man called Jesus died on the cross. The defining thing of the Christian faith is, do I believe he rose again? And it's like that whole C.S. Lewis kind of adage, isn't it? Without the resurrection, well, what we're dealing with is a lunatic, is a liar, or is legitimate. It's one of these things. Without the resurrection, he's a liar.
Right.
You know, without the resurrection, he's a lunatic. With the resurrection, he's legitimately the savior. So I would say that the implication for my life in believing that is, if Jesus did rise from the dead, then I have to believe him to be the Son of God. And if he's the Son of God, I have to believe what he taught and what he said. And if I believe what he taught and what he said, that has huge ramifications for the way I live my life on Monday morning. Like, it has to. Because if it doesn't, then it means I'm really at enmity with him. And I don't want to be at odds with the Son of God. So I think the resurrection is. What about you, Richard?
Oh, I know. I think that's great. Ditto. No.
You can't Avril Lavigne and Skater Boy on My Good Idea.
Yeah, I was just saying that's where I'm at. I think that one of the biggest impacts of resurrection is what guarantees us real life.
Okay.
Like Jesus coming back to life. This idea that this totally relatable Jesus that kind of not just conquers death, but comes back to life through the conquering of death. By implication means that for us, when we're looking at ourselves, we can find true, real life in this person, something that goes just beyond even just the temporal. But yes. I probably think even not to get too metaphorical in it, because I don't think that that's helpful. But those things in our life that are killing us, like everyday things that are actually like squashing us, killing us, pushing us down, resurrection goes, there's real power to let you live beyond that.
Yeah, good.
So if people are like crippled by depression, crippled by anxiety, crippled by health, crippled by financial things, what the resurrection points us to is there is real power that helps you live beyond that, just that reality. It sounds like a weird kind of, you'll be okay, even though everything else may suck. Resurrection says you're okay though, like you're okay. And I think without resurrection, all I have is this hope that at the end of it all, things may work out. But resurrection tomorrow in my life means I can go, man, this stuff is killing me. But resurrection, I'm okay. I can have a life beyond it.
Well, it's like Paul says in Corinthians, he says, if only for this life we have hope in Christ, we're to be pitied more than everyone. Like this idea, if the resurrection isn't legit, then actually we're the most pitiful because we're putting our hope in something vain that doesn't have the power to actually lift us out of our circumstances. And what he says, I can't remember where it is, but he says, it might be in the same passage. He says, like, you know, if the resurrection isn't legit, then we should eat, drink, and be merry. All we're living for is this moment. All we're living for is our temporary existence. But if it is real, then that is a total game changer because it means that we view everything differently. We view death differently, which is the greatest opposition to us, isn't it? Death. There's nothing more definitive than death in life, right? And without resurrection, hopeless. But with resurrection, that's where Paul says in Corinthians again, he says, death has lost its sting. Where is your power? All this kind of stuff. And I think, definitely, if we apply, and also I think this thing that the same power that raised Christ from the dead lives in us, that resurrection seed, that resurrection power is at work within us. So the same Spirit of God that rose Christ from the dead is at work within us. When we go to work, when we go on the school run, when we do all these mundane daily things, we have this resurrection force. It's crazy.
It's so crazy. I don't know if I fully understand that though. I totally agree with what you're saying, and I think that it's amazing.
That's good.
Yeah, but when you think about something and I go, what does it mean in my life right now? Because it's in me now. What does it mean right now? Because we can't get the internet to work properly. What?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I don't think it's to do with I think it can be supernatural powers. Ooh.
I've texted 3 people now. All 3 of them are not reading my messages.
Oh man.
Resurrection power, what?
Yeah, man. You need more of it. I think that resurrection, I think more than anything, it doesn't affect. It can affect outcomes because I think normally people claim that verse when it comes to stuff like healing. The power of God, the same Spirit that rose Christ from the dead is at work within me. therefore be healed, or cast demons out, which is all cool, and it's a cool application of it. But I also think it's to do with mentality. It's to do with outlook. Yeah. It's to do with this present reality, understanding that Jesus didn't remain in the tomb, and the same Spirit that rose him from the dead is at work within us. And I think it's this idea that, like, where Paul says in Ephesians, as for you were dead in your transgressions, like, but the Holy Spirit woke us up. And I think it's like, you know, we have this woke kind of agenda, don't we, in the world? Yeah. But I think this is about being genuinely awake, like being awake to the things of God and to the beauty of life and all these things, because of the resurrection of power that lives within us and works within us. So it's not just about signs and wonders. It's about getting through the difficult times. It's about, you know what I mean? It's about day-to-day life.
So, sadly now, Adam Clark has read my message. He hasn't texted back. And he's definitely not on here. This is where it's at now. This is where it's at. This is because the two blues, there they are. Tick, tick.
Oh my God. I wish we should get a burner phone for Fire Mountain so that we can hoax people.
Yeah.
Where they don't have our number.
You hoax people. Do you have Putin's number?
If you had a phone now that went direct to the Kremlin and you could speak to Putin for 5 minutes, what would you say?
I'd be all like, I don't know what I'd say. I'd want it to be something clever but funny, and probably something to do with everybody taking his money.
Okay. Like what?
Just be like, hey, Putin, it's oligarch here.
Mate, you look a bit like an oligarch. Like I've said before, you've got that kind of Russian... You look more like a Russian religious kind of leader. I don't know what they would be.
I don't know what a Russian religious leader looks like,
Orthodox,
but I like it.
Orthodox
I'm going
priest,
with that.
An Orthodox priest.
Absolutely going with that. What I wonder is do you think that this is what a lot of the oligarchs are busy saying to Putin right now?
Show me the money. That's a great scene. That's a great scene. Now, if I was on the phone to Putin, I'd say, "Hey, Vlad, just to say, that thing that's happening in Ukraine is not cool, man. But you know, you don't need to do that. Jesus loves you. You know, be secure, be content. Even if you lose your kind of leadership role, it's okay. God's like, just lay it down, just chill out, and let's get in a room, me, you, and Zelensky, and let's just like play some ping pong and hang out. It's going to be all good."
Or, hey, Vlad, just let you know, even though the whole world doesn't think you're cool, one person does. Donald says hi.
No. I know Hillary's been on your payroll for many a year now.
Dude, out of Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton on Vladimir Putin's payroll, you're leaning towards Hillary.
Mate, Hillary's a commie all day long. There's a connection there, man.
Man.
Fire Mountain's not good when we're not in a room together. Things get weird.
Things get really weird. And Adam Clark has definitely just ignored 100% the message I've sent him. So, Adam, if you're ever listening to this, thanks a lot.
Right, let me bounce that question back to you then. How does resurrection power outwork in you?
Yeah.
How is it a game changer?
So, kind of like I said before, in terms of the ability to look at the things that I feel like kill me and go, resurrection power means that I'll be okay even in that or beyond that. I think practically on the ground, it's such a hard question to answer. I do feel like there are moments, more often than not, when I feel the power of God at work inside of me.
Okay.
Just smallest situations and small things and things that I go, like, you know, when you look at something, you go, I'm really pleased that I responded in the way I did. And knowing my temperament or my character, I don't know why I did do that. And I feel like those are those moments when it is. But then if I look at a grand scale and I had to like level honest everything, is I have to go, more often than not, I have a sense maybe that of what that resurrection power should drive me to do, but I still don't need to do it.
Yeah.
So I think at times I'm probably more like the crowds in Barabbas,
Okay.
looking and going, I know I should be shouting for Jesus, but it's Barabbas.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's
maybe doing a little bit more of that than the other side. And then there's times when I definitely feel like that resurrection power is at work in itself, and it's normally like it's in the smallest things that I feel that. Like it's not like I'm walking around healing people on the streets and going whoosh, 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 this is all happening, but it's just in responses, thoughts, conversations that come, and I feel like it kind of feels foreign to me sometimes. And then I feel like, oh wow, this power is really at work in me. And then I also think, like, when I feel like life's really crushing and these things are happening, but I go, wow, actually things are going to be okay. I can see outside and beyond this. And it kind of tipples beyond optimism.
Yeah.
And it becomes like, I really believe it's all going to actually be okay, not just I
mean, it's not positivity and it's not optimism, is it? It's hope. It's hope as an anchor. The scripture says it's something that holds us firm, something that holds us steady. So even when, like, the sea is like rough or life is stormy and a bit chaotic, hope is an anchor. It's more than just positive vibes. And because I would say naturally I'm an optimistic person.
Yeah.
But I'd also say naturally I'm quite hopeless.
Many would agree.
Well, I'm quite chill.
Yeah.
But like my natural outlook, human speaking, like Russia and Ukraine, it's all going to burn.
Yeah.
Like, so for an optimistic person, I'd say actually when I feel a confidence about the future, it must be supernatural.
Okay.
Because my personality isn't good enough to be that optimistic, because actually whilst I'm optimistic in the small things, I think I'm a cynical kind of hopeless case in the flesh without God. But I think, like, with God, game changer.
So you feel like you're an optimistical cynic?
Yeah, I am. I'm definitely a cynic. I'm cynical about almost every conceivable thing that, especially what news has to tell me. Yeah. Is it though? Is it?
Every single thing that they could do.
Well, it's bad, man. Like, today, 4 million people died of COVID. Did they, though? Really? Honestly? It's like China. Shanghai's locked down because there's this new thing. Like, is it, though? Really? Like, surely you must read the news with, like, cynicism, right?
Well, I'm probably more trusting. I am definitely more trusting of mainstream media than you are. That's for sure. 100%. I question a lot less in mainstream media than you do. But also, I don't believe in a flat Earth.
All I'm saying is, I'm not saying it's flat, but if you get spirit level and go on a plane, you'll soon find that.
If you have powerful enough binoculars, you will see that ship just keeps throwing in exactly a straight line.
Do you know what I like? Is I feel like a kindred spirit with Elon Musk. I feel like me and him, we're like from the same pod.
I don't know if you are, though. I don't know if you're from the same pod.
I feel like we just have a lot in common. Like, if we met, we'd have a lot to talk about. And for sure, I would try and lead him to Jesus straight away, because one tie from Elon Musk, I'm telling you.
Sorted.
Game changer.
Absolutely, Elon. Absolutely. We don't need the space rocket. We just need the 10%.
Well, what I like is he's obviously. Have you seen about Twitter this week?
Yeah.
How he's bought something like 9.5% share in Twitter, which I think is great, because Twitter is obscene how they censor people. Like the agencies and the people that they allow to have Twitter accounts, but the people they ban, it's absurd. Like, absolutely absurd. So like the leader of the ISIS has got a Twitter account, which I just think it's a bizarre thing to have this kind of rogue terrorist cell You
And he's
know,
probably still got better internet in his cave than we do out here in the Western world, which is ridiculous as well.
well, yeah, it's because Hillary's probably set him up with fiber optic, I should think.
Hills.
But like it's but what was I going to say? Yeah, like Twitter censoring so many people, and I think Elon Musk hated that. Yeah. So like he just thought, oh, I'll just need to buy most of the shares then, like so that I can have a casting vote or whatever. Annoyingly, he's choosing not to be on the board. But I thought when he bought it, I was like, wouldn't it be cool to be that rich that you could just go, Tesco's hacked me off today with their service at the till. I'm going to buy it. Yeah. I'm going to buy it and show them. Like, I would love that. If you were rich enough, Richard,
yeah,
what would be the thing you'd do? Like, now, how do I say this without sounding unchristian?
I know exactly what you mean, and I can tell you what it is.
Okay, go on then. Help me ask my question. Or...
When people are driving badly, I would ram my car into the back of them, and when they get out all hacked off, I wouldn't even care. I would get out and go, drive better.
That's brilliant.
100%. I know what you're asking, and I know my answer because I've thought about it. If I was rich enough, and guys are driving badly, I would literally just slam right into the back of them.
Okay, well, let me just get some clarity on this, right? Because I wasn't expecting such an honest.
Hold on.
Right. Hey, Danny Jackson! Yes. Hey, Danny. So, Danny, can I just say, I text Danny Richard, so he was one of mine.
He's one of yours. I've texted 3 people. One of them's read my message and ignored it. The other 2 haven't even bothered to read my message.
I didn't realise what I was getting into, to be honest.
well, Danny, it's good to have you online with us, right? It's Easter Sunday. I hope you're having a great Easter weekend, right? We did have a question we wanted to ask you. We won't take much of your time because we know you're a busy businessman, right? The first thing is, should Boris be sacked?
No.
No, great. Team Dom. Why is that, Danny?
He only had a little party, didn't he? I mean, it's not that bad, really, is it?
Exactly. It's not like he killed anyone, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
Although some people might say that he threatened the life of many by hosting more than 6 people in I don't know, whatever. But hey.
Yeah, all the photos I saw, they only have 5 people with them anyway.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
As you saw.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. So that's the first question. So I appreciate that, Danny. I'm on board with you there. He shouldn't be sacked. He should keep his job. But now we've come on to a really interesting topic, right? Like being in the business sector, Danny, you'll be aware this week that Elon Musk has bought most of the shares on Twitter, so that he's got kind of the overarching ownership of Twitter. The founder, old CEO Jack Dorsey only has 2.5% of Twitter, so he almost outstrips him 4 times in terms of his influence and weight, right? But if you were loaded, right, absolutely minted, what would be the thing that you'd do with your money to kind of, like Richard said, when he gets hacked off by a driver, he would just drive straight into the back of them.
Yeah.
What would you do?
Yeah, I think I would probably buy Man City Football Club.
Buy Man City?
And then just fill them with Bournemouth players.
Remove him. Fill him with Bournemouth players. That's because Man City are a threat to Liverpool right now.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. I like that answer. It's pretty good. Right, thanks, Danny. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Danny.
Cheers, bye.
Bye. Oh, dude, that's amazing.
I love that. Buy Man City Football Club and fill them with Bournemouth players. Oh, man. So how many of your friends have responded to your text so far, Richard?
So out of the 3 texts I've sent, 2 haven't even bothered to read them. One of them read it and literally ignored it. Like read it and ignored it. Read it at 10:46. 15 minutes ago it was read. 15 minutes, done nothing with it. Not one thing.
That's amazing.
What would your one thing be?
No, I need to get more clarity on yours, Richard, because that cracked me up, right? So you don't want to cause the person harm, as in you don't want to run them down. You just want to cause inconvenience. Yeah.
But you know when somebody's driving so badly, like cut you off or something, and I just think if I was rich enough, I would literally just back you into you right now. your day would be ruined. Like, you know, when people have a ruined day, and I would get out and I would go, this means nothing to me. Literally, I'd get on the phone and be all like, Jarvis, bring around the Porsche and come pick me up. I just back-ended some tool and would jump into the Porsche and be on my way.
See, here's the issue, Richard, that I have with everything you've said now today, is you're not about, like, your consequence is so heavy-handed. That's why your view on Boris Johnson cannot be trusted. Like,
I'm not
there
saying
is nothing Christian in you.
What I'm going to say, I'm going to use the same line that Phil used when you interviewed him in an early episode of Fire Mountain, where he said, what I'm about to say right now may not be at all Christian.
No, I like your honesty. So you would just want to cause an inconvenience to their day?
Straight up, I feel like it's just one of those responses where people would go, I can't take the risk again of driving in that way.
I just got a text from Danny saying I logged in because I thought I was just helping test something. Amazing.
Amazing. You were, Danny. You're helping us test who. Ooh, I've had another person read.
Oh, who's read?
Simon's read the message now. Let's see what happens. Is he going to
if your guest comes into the room, then you have to set them up with a question.
We're going to see what happens. Here we see. We will wait and see. So, yeah.
If I was loaded, what would I do? It's a good question. I would definitely. I would buy a massive, like, plot of land to build like a massive church outreach center. Because I'm just more godly than you, mate.
Nah, you wouldn't do that. Don't lie.
That's where the question was going. That's why I was laughing so much. My question was going towards this idea. What would you do for the cause of the kingdom where you could invest money in? And where you went to is I would back end people in the road.
Again, for the cause of the kingdom. It's for the kingdom. It's for the kingdom.
I love.
If you had unlimited resource, you would invent a rocket, you would fly to the moon so that you could see whether the moon landing really happened or not.
That's 1,000%. That is a great thing. Because in the same flight, you can also ascertain the shape of the Earth as well. That's a great thing. I have no aspirations to go to space, so I wouldn't go there. But I'd have to send someone I really trust that wouldn't lie to me.
Yeah.
So I'd have to. What's that?
I've been to space, and the moon landing did happen.
Yeah, I would. That's a great thing. I don't know. I think that's something I would do. Space flight, because I'd want to ascertain: has anyone actually been to the moon? Is it even possible? Because I still can't believe that in 2022 someone can land on the moon and then take off from the moon and fly back to Earth. I just think it's too comic book for me.
Ah, man.
That's all I'm saying.
At some point, we should do a moon landing episode of Fire Mountain. I think at some point we could do a conspiracy theory episode of Fire Mountain. Like, just take all the conspiracy theories we can find and then have you rate them on a scale of yes or no, and just see how many tip into the yes mark over the no mark.
Yeah, I think the problem is you think, like, some of the things that I wouldn't call conspiracy, you would say a conspiracy, and I say that's not a conspiracy. That's just an evidence-driven conclusion.
I don't know. Believing the world is run by lizards feels conspiracy to me.
No, I definitely don't think that. They're more like crocodiles in suits. Is Mum here? Oh, Mum's here. Louise is here. We can ask her a question before we sign off from Fire Mountain.
Do the money question. That really interests me, man. That is funny as.
All right, fine.
That is Danny. I'll buy Man City and fill it with Bournemouth players.
Oh, I'd buy Bournemouth and fill it with Liverpool players just to spite Danny. Maybe that's what I would do. Hopefully. Let me just... Luby! She's outside at the moment. She'll be in a minute. Right, what are you doing with the rest of your Easter Sunday, Richard?
Got good Easter dinner, doing some roast doing roast chicken, roast lamb.
Nice.
Roast lamb for me, roast chicken for the boys, and then CJ and Charmaine just have
A
vegetarian.
vegan sausage for Charmaine.
And that's pretty much going to be.
What you should do, Richard, is you should buy like if you were rich, you should buy like Linda McCartney. Is that the one? Is that the one who does all the stuff? And then just introduce a little bit of meat into their products and slowly bring your wife back.
So in South Africa, we knew a couple who that's exactly what the husband did. He would hide meat in her meals for about 7 years. He hid meat in her meals. And then one day revealed that for like 7 years, she hasn't actually been vegetarian and just been eating meat. And then she gave up being a vegetarian.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm going to go and see where Louise is.
Cool. I mean, here I am. Welcome to Fire Mountain. This is what happens when you're not in the same room and someone decides to just walk away, which is all good. If you have thoughts, questions, or comments, or you disagree with anything we've said, we'd love to hear from you. Email us, firemountain@sunnyhill.church. Put those comments or questions down below. We would love to hear a little bit of that from you, which would be great. Oh, Dom's back. Here we go.
She's talking to our neighbour, which is annoying.
Right.
You can see nothing's like a priority, like a broadcast on Fire Mountain. Luby!
Yeah, see if that works. Shouting out your wife's name. Always going to be a winner.
I'll drop her a little text. Can you? So what you? I'm not.
My wife sent me a message, and then a half hour later sent me one saying cancel that, like as if cancel the previous message.
What did the first message say? Something like, "I've never loved you more. The weight you're losing just really inspires me to just."
It says,
you. I can't cancel that.
It said, no, I've got nothing clever. Everything I said when the cancel that would have wiped it out.
Right, Luby. Oh, she's not coming. Right.
Well,
oh,
there we are.
Luby.
That's one of
Can
your friends.
Please, she's coming now.
It's one of your friends who didn't come on.
No, another one of mine. Luby, you are live on Fire Mountain.
Oh goodness! Hello, just come out. Thought I'd do some, what is it that you want? What is it that you want? Some sponsorship. I'd like to be sponsored.
Literally, we're desperate. We are desperate for sponsorship.
Tesco's, if you'd like to sponsor me. Oh, there goes
Luby,
the dog.
you know that you should be shopping on the Sabbath.
The Sabbath. It says Maundy Thursday.
Sunday.
Easter Sunday.
It's Monday, Thursday.
I don't know what day we
Oh
are.
no, the illusion's broken.
Right.
We all thought it was Easter Sunday. Happy Easter Sunday.
Richard,
everyone.
Louise can be your friend. Do you want to ask her 2 questions?
So here we go. The first question, Louise: if you had unlimited amounts of money, okay,
Yeah, I tithe it.
what is one thing? So Elon Musk bought Twitter.
Yes.
What is one thing you would do? Dom's one. He tried to go Christian, so we sacked that one. Is he would build a space rocket to send someone else to the moon to see if the moon landing really happened. That's where we landed.
Yeah. It's a lot of distrust.
My
Yes.
one is if I was unlimited wealth, when people drove badly in front of me, I would rear-end them just straight back. Into them. That's what I would do. What's your one thing? What would you do?
Oh my goodness, that's too hard. My one thing. Goodness me, I don't know. If I had unlimited money,
Unlimited money.
I would never clean again.
Nice.
I would get someone.
I've got a better one. I would buy Scotland, right? And then I'd get a really... I'd either like build a really good retaining wall, okay? Like Adrian's wall, like rebuild it. And then like just put a running hose pipe over the top and flush them out. No, I'll get a reciprocating saw and just cut through the land, through the divide, and just like push it out. No, I'm playing.
I like when you go, if I had unlimited money, I would buy a country. This is
That's a good shout. To be fair,
What, to push away Scotland?
to just yeah.
No, well they want
separate.
They want freedom.
They want it. We're just giving the people what they want, you know.
I don't know if they want it, but I think you could definitely you could buy a boat and stick Nicola Sturgeon on it and push that one out.
No, do you know what? Another thing, I've had another thought what I would do.
Yeah.
Is I would give money to a family in Uganda,
Yeah.
right, with the sole purpose that they can sponsor one of my kids. Yeah, so I'd give them like a salary to do it, but I just like the idea that my kids would grow up saying that was sponsored by a family in Uganda. I think that would be so good.
Oh, amazing. That's great. Okay, second question, Louise.
Okay.
Easter Sunday, which obviously is today.
Today, yeah.
More than Thursday, but Easter Sunday, just so people know, they get it right.
Yeah.
In your life, resurrection, what is one real life application that has for you, like in your life tomorrow? What would it be? The reality of resurrection.
Are we looking for a serious answer here?
Serious answer on this one.
Okay. Resurrection. Okay. So I don't know whether I've heard the question right. I was just in a meeting a minute ago on Sunday, because that's when I do my meeting.
Your meeting, Sunday meeting.
And we were talking at Lounge One, that's closed. And we were talking about how each one of us are resurrected and we have a resurrected life. And how, we drag around our dead self. This is a bit grim, but we drag around the old self with us, and how constantly the resurrection is a reminder that my old self is dead, that who I was before Jesus is dead and gone, and that I can't resurrect my old self, that actually I wear the resurrection of Jesus, and that I live out my new created life in him, and that my job isn't to resurrect my old self, but to live in the resurrection of Jesus.
That's great.
Boom.
That's a great answer. Probably needed that a couple of, about 45 minutes ago.
And then the final question, which Richard has forgotten, but one that's important. Should Boris Johnson resign?
No, heck no.
Thank you.
Big BoJo fan. No.
We're
he
Christians
did a bad
here.
thing. He did a bad thing, a very bad thing. But everybody does, and nobody else is forced to resign. Well, actually, one person was forced to resign.
Yeah.
To be fair.
She should get her job back.
She just joked about the parties, so she should probably get her job back. That's what I'd fight for. She should never have been the scapegoat.
If you disagree with Dom and Louise and you know I'm right, email us, firemountain@sunnyhill.church.
Coleman at sunnyhill.church.
Awesome sauce. Well, this has been an interesting episode of Fire Mountain, hasn't it?
This has been an Easter episode of Fire Mountain. We hope you're all having a good holiday. If you've got kids, if you're still working, we hope that your work is going well. Hopefully we have seen you on Friday at church and seen you on Sunday at church, which would have been great. Because we got that happening. But outside of that, happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
From Fire Mountain. And we look forward to seeing you again next week.